Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, February 3rd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're interested in learning more about charts, technical analysis, and how it can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the watch list, I first want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering on Thursday. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and you want to learn more about the tool of charts and technical analysis and how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, then there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click on. So like I said, if you're liking what you see, you want to learn more, then definitely get signed up for the free class. A couple of quick clarification points. First off, the market is still open for a little bit, so you're not crazy. This price over here is fluctuating and moving around, but I like to do these videos when the market's still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day action. And then next, I will be using the 30-minute time frame for all these. So if you're a beginner, all that means is that each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So with that being said, first one here, ticker symbol AMD, had earnings, and yes, the market liked it quite a bit. Now, there was this pullback here, but with the pullback, the price basically stabilized out, and within that has now defined a very, very, pretty clear breakout level and resistance. So when I draw this line here, I don't want to come across like this is some sort of great discovery on my part or that there's some sort of special talent that I have to have seen this line right here at 125. No, in fact, the exact opposite. I assure you a lot of people are watching that area. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same area, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very nice movement. So while nothing is guaranteed, it's completely valid and plausible to think that if the price can work its way up to that area and get the break up through it, that break in and of itself could create a good amount of upside buying pressure. So definitely keep a close eye on 125 as far as that resistance is concerned. And then as far as supports, basically sitting right on it, that being that the pink line there, which on my chart represents the very famous 200 period moving average. So keep an eye on that. If you're more of a kind of wanting a bigger type of a pullback, then there could be some sort of gap close pullback down there around the 117 mark. But in terms of very near-term levels of support, that 200 period moving average is sitting there. But I think the most interesting dynamic here is that 125 level. So let's see if the price can get the push up through it over the next few days. Next one, XELA, and a pretty, bizarre chart here, just because everything that I talked about previously came into play here, mainly the levels of resistance, which were broken at the start of the day, and then came up here, but it was that secondary resistance that ultimately proved to be a problem, and not a problem in the sense of the price going to get through it, but a problem in the sense of it knocked the price not only back down to that previous resistance, but then also back down below there. So overall, nothing has changed in regards to the level of resistance. Now, just from a clutter perspective, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that line there, and we'll just focus on 95 cents now being that main overarching level of resistance, but mainly just because that 95, like I said, smacked the price back down and pushed it below that secondary area of resistance. But now what's even more relevant is going to be this area of support, which will be a little bit more meaningful for those of you that have watched past watch list videos. But I've talked about this 75-cent level as support, and so far so good. You can see the price came down right there. Sure, didn't hit it exactly, but I mean certainly got very close, and to give credit where credit's due, did hold strong there. But overall, depending on your perspective, is going to depend on how you look at this chart. Meaning, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then from that perspective, the chart looks terrible. But if you care about the big picture point of view, even with the pullback here, if you're going to look at where these lows are, then if you want to envision each of those lows as stair steps, you can see that from the big picture point of view, the stair steps are still progressing in the upwards direction. So like I said, is this a good or bad looking chart? Well, I have no idea because I don't know what your game plan was going in, but those are going to be the different vantage points to consider. Next one, AMC, which had a very, very rough past couple of days. Not because the price failed to break up through here, but because this pullback now seems to be kind of spinning out of control. Now, I'm not going to say it's totally out of control, but the main reason why I'm starting to say that now is because the price has violated that purple line there, the 50 period moving average, and which you can see for the most part of the day was doing a great job of honoring it, just like the price honored it back here. So the price was staying above it, but then all of a sudden late day here, you can see that the price is broken down below it, and not only broken below it, it continues to sink further and further down below it. Again, does that mean that the entire bounce right here has been ruined. I'm not going to say that it's ruined, but it is certainly looking very, very shaky at this point. So the next level from a support standpoint that I'm very curious about is down here at that 1525. Yeah, 1520, 1525, right around there, because that was essentially this former breakout area. And I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price were to go down that level and then break down through it, well, what would you have at that point? You would quite literally have the price having gone right back inside of this range where it was. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make great bounces and then go back to where they started, not exactly the sign of genuine power. Again, not saying that's what's going to happen, but that's why in my mind, that 1525-ish area, very, very important moving forward. Next one, PYPL. PayPal got absolutely destroyed today. But now there's some very interesting levels that have formed. And the first dynamic here is maybe, just maybe, this is some sort of bottom, because it's very clear the price definitely went sideways, essentially right at 129. Now, don't get me wrong, and I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because there was a massive gap down, just because the price started to go sideways, does not mean that for sure guaranteed this is the bottom, and that for sure guaranteed there's going to be some bigger bounce. If only it were that easy. My point here is it at least a plausible? Is it at least a rational thought to be thinking? And yeah, absolutely. Now, it had the price kept, going down, 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 and I'm sitting here saying, hey, it's looking like it's the bottom. You'd be totally justified to say, what are you talking about? The price is literally continuing to go down and down and down. But of course, that's not the case here. It has at least gone sideways. So guaranteed bottom? Of course not. Rational thought to be thinking that way? Absolutely. So the next level here that I'm very curious about moving into the next few days is right up there at, let me make sure I get that level right. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. 135 on the dot. So 135, very interesting level. And if 135 can be broken, the next level would be right up there around the 140 mark. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. Nice sideways action, late day. So a little nice upwards channel. Is there any sort of genuine power behind it? Is there a bigger bounce that's coming? Let's see what happens. Next one, HLBZ. Nice little price range here for those of you that like to trade the sub $10 stocks here. And the best part that I like is such a well-defined level right up here at the $4 mark, which again goes to the talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies. So I'm not trying to impress you by, drawing that line. A lot of people have drawn that line. But the one thing that I do want to just offer up as a reminder is that yes, $4 is a key break point, but not that far away is going to be that downward sloping 200 period moving average at right around $4.16. Now, does that mean that it can't break through both those areas? I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is I'd be a little careful in getting overly excited if the price were to come up here and break $4. Now, if it can break $4 and then break that 200 period, that would be a very impressive sign of strength on the bull's part. But just keep in mind that while $4 is definitely a very, I think well-watched level, that, not that far above it is going to be another potential problem point at that 200 period moving average. As far as areas of support are concerned, key pullback area going to be right there around $3.60. But overall, if you like to play this price range, there's definitely some interesting dynamics here headed into tomorrow. Next one, OLB, and this one might be game over, and I really hesitated quite a bit. Do I want to put this one on the watch list? But I'm just going to go with it because, yeah, there's no doubt about it. Right now, this thing's looking pretty rough. I'm going to think that I got all the way up here. Pulled back, which was fine because at least it started to go sideways. But then late day, you can see has broken down and essentially continues to bleed and bleed and bleed. So, yeah, it is looking relatively ugly. But as you longer time viewers have heard me say, there can be opportunity in ugly. And let's see if this thing wants to go down there and retest this previous breakout point, which is also essentially the gap close location. Now, do gaps have to close? Absolutely not. Nothing has to happen. If that were the case, then that would imply that there are guarantees in the market. But if the price does come down there to that $1.95 mark, not only is it the gap close location, but you also have the grouping here of some very well-known moving averages, the 50-period moving average, the 200-period moving average. So there is a bunch of support dynamics all occurring at this level. So if this thing wants to keep bleeding, 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 there could very well be a bounce area from that area. But that's also a matter of, are you willing to honor risk? Are you willing to manage risk? Or are you someone that's just, if it continues to go down, are you going to stop out, or are you just going to hold and hope? Because, if you are playing these sorts of, pullbacks, there's no guarantee it's going to bounce. So you got to keep that in mind. And if you're not somebody that's, if you can't honor stop losses and such, you shouldn't be trading at all, but certainly not in these situations. But yeah, this one's looking a little bit sketchy, but maybe it can get a little bit more ugly and then create an opportunity. Next one, LCID. And first thing I want to do is, did this one, I don't remember, several watch lists ago, but I put that green line into play and, wanted to just track it over time. So as I extend that trend line out, hopefully you kind of see the issue with today, which is twofold because yes, it did break down below the trend line, but part of that was also breaking down below that 50-period moving average. So a couple of definitely bearish dynamics here where I'm not going to say the entire chart is ruined, but it's starting to look a little sketchy here. And, you're definitely going to want to see things hold strong, but I'm going to get rid of that trend line there as it served its purpose. But if there is any sort of attempted recovery back in the upside direction, then that initial area of resistance is going to be that 50-period moving average purple line there, currently valued at 28.50. And then if the price does start to pull back some more, then going back to the whole idea of, the price going back to where it was, that level is essentially right around the $27 mark, meaning, if the price were to come down here and break down through it, now all of a sudden the price is literally right back inside of the, this little range where it was when it was flirting with those lows previously. So we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, things are definitely looking sketchy. A couple of bearish dynamics with the trend line break and that 50-period moving average break, but we'll see if things can try to get things turned around over the next couple of days. Now, next one here, NIO, and I wanted to put this one next because I just talked about on LCID how that 50-period moving average was broken. But on this one, you saw it behave the way you would want to see it behave from a support standpoint, from a bullish standpoint. So yes, there was this big pullback this morning, but check it out, right where the price found some support at that purple line. And not only did it find support, it was also able to, help get the price back up above that green line there, which I talked about previously. So good to see that it was kind of a teamwork here, that the price found support there, bounced off of that level, used it as a trampoline to get then up above that 23.50 mark. But you can see, because that is a moving average, that line has now moved itself to be essentially right at that green line. So point here being 23.50, definitely going to be a very important level of support here on NIO. And then, as I've talked about in past videos, that $25 level remains the key level of resistance. But with the pullback today, not totally relevant as we head into Thursday, but nonetheless, just in case something crazy happens and a bigger move occurs, then yeah, 25 is certainly going to be that main level that you want to watch. But, all things considered, good to see that 50-period moving average was able to hold. So we'll see if the bulls can build upon that momentum on Thursday. And then again, going back to how you wouldn't want to see the price behave relative to that 50-period moving average. And that's the key dynamic here is actually first thing, just going to go ahead and get this converted to resistance. This is based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So if there is any sort of attempted bounce, right up around that 1355-ish area is going to be the main area of resistance. But the most, at least for me, intriguing dynamic that needs to be considered is the fact of, okay, the price is now broken down through that 50-period moving average. But is this a true break or not? It's certainly not in an ideal situation right now because, as you just saw, you want to see the price stay above that 50-period. You want to see the price, bounce up off of it, which didn't happen here. But is this a true break? Let's see. Well, there's got to be some way you define whether or not something's a true break. And in this situation, I'm defining true break as the price coming down to the 1320 mark and then continuing on down through there, because I think that would set up another, round of downside pressure. So yeah, not a great looking chart, looking kind of shaky. But again, I think it'd be over dramatic to say, oh, it's game over. Well, no, things are looking shaky, yeah, but game over? No, because the price is still within the range of that 50-period moving average. But yeah, if the price does come down to 1320, I think that could very well spur on another amount of downwards pressure. But point here being 1320 going to be that main area of support, and then 1355 that main area of resistance if the price does attempt to bounce. Next one here, Tesla, TSLA, and wow, what a situation we have here headed into Thursday. It's a double whammy of this trend line support that I drew previously. I mean, check it out. The price basically bounced right off that level, but you also have the purple line right there. So have you noticed the purple line, the 50-period moving average, has been the theme. But I mean, look at that. You have two big dynamics right there, and it's essentially at the $900 mark. So my point here is $900 headed into Thursday is going to be a very, very important, a very, very watched level because you have just so many dynamics that are sitting right around this level that I think a lot of people are going to care about. As far as breakout is concerned, again, we got to do that foundational rule. That was a level of support there, but now that it's been broken, it would be considered an area of resistance right there at right around the 914, 915-ish area. And yeah, I'll leave this one up here because it is Tesla, so I suppose 940 may not be that far away that it seems right now, but this would be the next, level up around the 940 mark. But as of now, no point in really talking too much about 940 while the price is still, down below this area. But like I said, in my mind, all eyes, long, shorts, everybody in between, going to be watching 900 because it's literally that trend line. It's that 50 period moving average. So we'll see what happens with it. So that wraps up the top 10. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you like what you saw here and if you're starting to see the potential here that technical charts can offer you to help make good decisions and ultimately to build consistency in your results as a trader, then I want you to get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be on Thursday. I just noticed a typo there. Not January 20th, February 3rd. So there we go. So if you stuck around at towards here, then the first one you're like, what are you talking about? It's not February or January 20th anymore. But anyways, February 3rd is when it will be. So depending on when you watch this, if you are watching this as soon as the market closes, then yeah, it will be tomorrow because today is the 2nd. But Thursday, February 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully I'll see you there. As far as these watch list videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these videos, then please help me out with some basic feedback. Smash that like button, leave a simple comment. 2 easy things to do. And as far as a comment, just tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching tomorrow. Give me a smiley face. But those 2 things communicate to me that you enjoy these videos. And as long as I know that people are enjoying, I have no problem at all, continuing to put in the time and effort to, put these watch lists together. So again, if you want to get signed up for the free class, learn more about technical charts and how they can be used, how they should be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for that free class, which again is on February 3rd. Everybody take care. Have a good one.